Good afternoon, my fellow pipe smokers. This is the Crusty Codger coming at you on a Sunday afternoon. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I did not get to go to church today. I'm kind of bummed out about that. My grandmother, who's 95 years old, has been placed on hospice. So I went to visit her and spend some time with her this afternoon. I got to see my aunt, uncle, and my mom and dad were there as well as my sister and a cousin of mine. So I didn't get to hear a message from Pastor Arthur that I had been wanting to hear. I haven't been able to go in a couple of weeks for a variety of reasons. Sickness and now this. I say that because one of the things I like to do with pipe tobacco reviews, I talk to you about how that I feel, experiences I've had. And I got to spend about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes with my grandmother, who was largely unresponsive, but I got a chance to sit there and just be with her, which, if you've ever been through something like this, is the most important thing, that you're spending time with your loved ones when they are in their final moments. I don't know when the Lord will call her home, but I am confident of her eternity, and that Jesus Christ is her Lord and Savior. So with that, I will get to the review. Today I'm going to be reviewing an aromatic. I've only done 2 English blends, and this is Colt Blood Red Moon. When I first started my pipe journey, I didn't really know a whole lot of the differences, the aromatic blends and Englishes and other things that are out there. And some people prefer one over the other. For me, I like them both. I really do. And I have had a full tin of the Colt Blood Red Moon. In fact, this pipe will be the one that finishes off my second or third tin of it. And it is a good smoke. I believe it is Cavendish and Burley with cherry overtones and some chocolate, but we'll see how it goes as I review it for you. And to drink this morning, I'm not sure how you two feels about it, but I am not real sure. It's a pumpkin cider, and I've heard that this Ace Pumpkin Cider has gone out of business. So I went to my local grocery store, HEB, and I bought everything they had. So I spent about $200 on it. I'm hoping that it is not out of business, but if it is, I'm looking to buy everything I can get. It really goes well with an aromatic, especially with the cherry and chocolate overtone. So I'm gonna light it up, and I will be back with you guys in a few moments. All right, so I've got the pipe lit. I haven't talked about my pipes before. This one I found on eBay. I know there are good ones out there that people say do a better job than others based upon the type of pipe you have. This one was actually, they call it an estate pipe, but it was made in Israel. It's an Israeli pipe. I found it does really a good job. I really enjoy smoking it. I know with aromatics, they typically, you hear reviews about just going with a straight pipe because of the moisture condensation. I really haven't experienced it with the aromatics. The aromatics can tend to get hot if you smoke them too quickly. So with this blend, you can immediately not only smell the cherry, but you can taste it right off the bat. And if you're looking for an aromatic that's got flavor to it, that has the smell that the flavor is supposed to be, it is really good. It's very popular, and I do enjoy it. On the retrohale, you definitely smell the cherry. Not really so much the chocolate right now. As I get further down in the bowl, I am expecting that, but we'll see what it brings. When I was sitting with my grandmother, you can't help uh, to be thankful when you have family. I mean, I'm 51 years old. My grandmother's 95 years old. There's not a time in my life, especially around the holidays and other family times, that I didn't spend with her. And I talked about my grandfather before and how I learned what hard work really is. He grew up during the Depression, and so did she. And I learned the value of hard work from him and hard work from her. But what I really am struck with when I think about her and think about, excuse me a moment. And I think about my time with her, she is the most selfless person that I know outside of my wife and my father. She was always serving. I remember as a child, she would cook from the time that before we got to her house to well after. She wouldn't eat until all of us had eaten. And she would serve the most delicious meal. It really didn't matter what it was. And so I was there sitting with her, and we were playing some, my aunt had some big band music, which is what she grew up listening to. And she's been a lifelong fan of. So as we're sitting there and she's listening to this big band music, she's largely unresponsive. But it takes me back to some things that I've been talking about in the other videos, and that's leading a life of service. At the end of the day, you know, life to me is about the accumulation of memories, and that's one of the reasons I smoke tobacco, pipe tobacco, is because it does give me a chance to just think about those things that I've experienced in life and those things that are important. And as I've often said, there's no trailer hitch on a hearse, so you can't take it with you. But what you do take with you is that love and family and those memories that you create. And I was at a banking seminar, and you wouldn't think a banking seminar would be something where you would get inspired in terms of life lessons and things, but in this one I did. I heard a gentleman speak. And he was talking about his family, and he was talking about how he was inspired by someone that was important in his life. And it goes something like this. If you go and you look in a mirror, and you look at it long enough, what should happen is, after you've seen yourself and you've looked at yourself, if you're thinking about life in general, your image will fade away. And what you will start to see is those people in your life who have helped get you to where you are. You don't arrive, or you don't get to where you are simply by your own efforts in your those things in life that have led you to the place you're at, are large part, if it's lived right, because of others. And if you're leading life the way you should and living it the way you should, it's about those people feeding into you. But what comes after that is the thought of, when other people are doing a self-reflection, when they're looking into the mirror, at what point does any of them see you? When do they fade away, and what do they see? What do they feel when they see you? And this pipe, this tobacco, this blend is very sweet. It has a very distinct cherry flavor to it. I am noticing some of the chocolate now. But the sweetness in life isn't necessarily what you get out of it. Those are things that come to you, and should come to you as you experience life, and as your life is about a life of service. And then I'm sitting there, and I'm just staring at her as she's laying there. She doesn't say a thing. She doesn't even really open her eyes very often. But I started thinking about Scripture, and I started thinking about Christ. And how, in every instance that I can think of, Christ's life was about everyone else that was on the planet, everyone else that would be on the planet. And he lived his life not for what he got out of it, but what he could give, up until and through his death on the cross and his resurrection, his ascension back into heaven. It was all about everyone else and not him. And so as I'm sitting here smoking this pipe, and I'm reflecting upon my life, you know, I'm never going to come close to the sacrifice and the life that Christ led, but you know, I can dang sure think about that. So those times that I'm going through things and I'm acting selfishly or acting in my own self-interest, I can really see through that and help to see, and in my mind I can see the bigger picture. If you're looking for a good aromatic blend, especially if you're first starting out smoking tobacco and you want something that is not going to be too strong, something that the tobacco flavoring in it you're just not going to taste, at least I can't, but you want that smell and that room note and the flavoring that you get from it, I do highly recommend the Colt Blood Red Moon. Now, the tin art on this is spectacular. I mean, that is beautiful in my opinion. And excuse me, I'm battling a little bit of a cold, but it is truly remarkable, the creativity that some of these tins will have. Some of them are simple, some of them, like I said, are just plain and just have the wording on it, but this one really really is really unique. And I know there's some people out there who don't really care for aromatics. They're an English blend, or they like smoking Virginia. They may like their Latakia blends. I tend to like them all for different reasons and like them at different times of the day. But this one is really delicious. And what I have found is that, you know, what you pair it with will change the flavoring of it and change the experience as well. I used to be really big into bourbons, and I still enjoy them, more so when it gets a little cooler. But you know, honestly, here in Texas, I mean, it is the end of October and it is still in the mid 80s. The humidity is, I don't know, it's not that bad, but it's still warm. A little perspiration on my forehead. And I'm thinking I would really enjoy both this pairing of this pipe tobacco and this drink when it's a little bit cooler, maybe a little bit later in the afternoon, but it is still quite delicious. And now I am smelling a little bit of more of the chocolate, although the cherry is predominant in the smoke. Like I said before, you have to be careful that you are not smoking it too fast. The moisture can cause a bit of tongue bite if you go too quickly with your smoke. So, excuse me, I try to slow it down a little bit. I mean, the pipe will last longer. You'll enjoy it more. You may have a few more relights, but nothing will diminish your experience when you're smoking your pipe of it being too hot, and you'll even lose some of the flavoring I've found when you're smoking it, because then it just becomes more about the hot air than anything else. I'm going to continue to smoke my pipe. I'm going to get down to about halfway, and I'll be back and talk a little bit more about my day, talk a little bit more about the ministry that I've been called to, and a little bit more about this Cult Red Blood Moon. Talk to you in a bit. Well, I'm almost halfway done with this bowl of Cult Blood Red Moon. I got the names backwards, or the part of it backwards, just a few moments ago. I think I called it Cult Red Blood Moon, but it's Cult Blood Red Moon. One of the things I was thinking about as I was smoking it was how in life sometimes we have people that are in our lives who, on the surface, when you think about them and you watch them and how they led their life, they're never the rock star. They're never the ones that are really out in front. But when I was thinking of my grandmother, I was thinking about how she always did her part. She gave it her all. She was never in the forefront. She never wanted to be the center of attention. She wanted her husband to be the center of attention, or her children, or her grandchildren. It was really about everybody but her. And it took me to the book of Nehemiah. And in Nehemiah, they're rebuilding the wall around Jerusalem in ancient times. And there's many lessons you can learn from that. But everybody did their part. So what they were tasked with doing was rebuilding the part of the wall right in front of their home. Doing what they could do. Nobody was expected to build the whole thing, but they were all expected to do their part. They were expected to give their all to rebuild the wall around Jerusalem. And so when I was thinking about my grandmother, I always thought how she always did her part. When I was a child and we would go out and cut and rake and bale and haul hay, she wasn't out there doing any of that. She was inside. She was preparing food for everybody, preparing drink for everybody. She would come out with big old tubs of Gatorade for us younger folks who were doing the work. She would come out, even oddly enough, in 100-degree August heat with coffee for my great-grandfather when he was still around, and for my grandfather. We would drink water and Gatorade, but then she would have, summer sausage and cheese. She would bring out stuff. And she was just as much a part of the success of the family as anybody else who was out front doing the work of what it was we were trying to accomplish. She was in a support role. She was doing her part, and she always did it to the best of her ability. And it got me to thinking about, life, that no matter what we're doing, that the success or failure of it can be measured in whether we're successful, and also in, are we giving it our all? Are we doing our part to the best of our ability and with passion and diligence? That doesn't matter what your role is, but you're doing everything that you can. As my role changed as I got older, I would go from sitting on a couple of phone books and driving a truck down the middle of the rows of hay that were about to be that were baled, and as older men would throw the bales onto the truck or the trailer, to when it was my turn to do those things. As I got older and I got stronger and more was expected of me, my roles changed. But I was always expected to work hard and not complain, and do everything I could to finish the job at hand, no matter what it was. And I remember, you know, as a child and as a teenager, you know, I could complain about what it was or how hot it was here in Texas. Excuse me. In August, it's well over 100 degrees, and you know, you did a lot of it in the morning, but it was hard work. And I never, ever, ever saw her complain about anything. It was always about service to others. And the sweetness that I'm tasting now with the cherry and the chocolate makes me think about her. She was always sweet. I don't think I once saw her angry. I'm sure she got angry. She's human. And I would see her perturbed from time to time, especially if, you know, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to, or I was acting out or something along those lines. But she was always about everybody else and not herself. And that's the thing I will remember about her for the rest of my life. So a couple of notes about this this blend. And I always hold it up because my memory's like a coffee filter these days. But this Colt Blood Red Moon is, you're not going to taste tobacco. If you are after a tobacco experience in terms of tasting the complexities of a tobacco, tasting the taste of tobacco, you're not going to taste it with this, because the cherry flavoring that's on it is over the top. But if that's what you're after, if you want that experience, then I do highly recommend this blend. You will taste it, you will smell it, you will get hints of chocolate, but you will not, at least to me, you will not get any tobacco flavoring out of the blend. And that's okay, right? There's other blends for that I've reviewed, and if that's what you're after, look at some of my other reviews that are out there. I've reviewed 2 English blends, and if that's what you're after, then go for that. But if you like aromatic blends, then I do recommend this. And I do recommend, you can pair it with a coffee. I've had it with coffee. It tastes great. You know, even something like iced tea. In my case here, I like the pumpkin cider. It goes real well with it. I'm sure there's other things. I know people who have a Coke and or some other soda, and they like that as well. So give that a shot. I know I talked a little bit less about the tobacco and a little bit more about my day. I hope that those who view it get something from it. The tobacco review, but also a little bit of ministry as well. And with that, this is the Krusty Codger signing out. I pray that you guys have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and I look forward to hearing from you in comments in reviews that you will leave me. And as always, have a blessed day, and I will talk to you later.